What is going on, everybody? All the way from Arkansas, give a warm round of applause for Raj Suresh.
Thank you. Okay. Cleveland, Ohio, how we doing? Good. Nice. All right, well, thank you guys. Thank you for showing up. I know some of you know me, some of you don't, so let me introduce myself. My name is Raj. I'm ethnically ambiguous. Some people think I'm Hispanic, other people think I'm Arab. What I actually am is half Indian, and my other half is also Indian. I'm just a fully Indian all the way around, and that's how I like it. I was doing a bunch of jokes about being Indian. I have been traveling the country quite a bit before this, just trying to get ready for this. So I was in Oklahoma City a couple weeks ago doing jokes about being Indian. And then after my set, some dude came up, and he's like, hey, good set, but I didn't get all the Indian references, and I'm Indian too. I was like, oh shit, that's not good. And then he looked closely at my face, and I looked closely at his face, and I knew we both had figured out the problem, but I wanted him to say it first. And he didn't disappoint. He leaned in and he goes, oh, you're a dot, not a feather. I was like, yo, were you just racist to both of us on behalf of white people at the same time? Update your references. It's 2022. I'm a computer Indian, not a casino Indian. That's the difference between us. It's wild. Your people used to own America, but mine will. That's what's going to happen. It's the big difference between us. We're coming for every piece of the game. I'm lucky to be Indian, I will say that, dude. I've got very supportive Indian parents. When I used to do stand-up, when I first started, like 7, 8 years ago, my mom would call me before shows. Nowadays, she doesn't give a fuck. Back then, she called, and she would always wish me the same thing. The first couple shows, she'd be like, hey, Raj, tonight on your show, good luck. And after like 5 times of this, I was like, hey, Ma, I'm a performer. We believe the opposite of what you say happens. So you don't say good luck, you say break a leg. And she's like, all right, I'll get it next time. And next time, she called me. She goes, hey, Raj, tonight, break your leg. I was like, that ain't it. That's not the thing. She's like, all right, I'll get it next time. And then 2 weeks go by, and she calls me again. She goes, hey, Raj, tonight, she spoke to me like I was the Indian Karate Kid. She goes, tonight, break the leg. Then I hear my dad in the back like, yo, tell him to break both of his legs. It's 2 times good luck. I see that one Indian family up there like, yeah, this shit is true. Break both of them. I'm the Indian that chose to become something different than a doctor, but like most of the... It's true. It's a smart choice. Are you a doctor? What are you, Indian guy? You're a disappointment too? What do you do? Oh, man. What do you do for work?
Data scientist.
You're a data scientist? You're not a fucking disappointment. What did they want you to be? A doctor. A doctor? Okay. It's wild, man. I think I figured out why Indian immigrants want to be doctors. It's because right now, if you apply for a green card in America as an Indian immigrant, it's 150 years. Most Indians will actually die in line waiting for a green card. And that's why it makes sense that we want to go into medicine, because we're just trying to figure out how to stay alive long enough to become American. It makes sense. I applied for my citizenship nearly 7, 8 years ago at this point. I've been in the country since I was 17, and I'm 18 now. You guys are like, no, you're not, you bald fuck. A lot of the time, the one thing that gets said is that Indian men are very controlling. I promise you, if you think that my dad is the head of the household, you are wrong. He is the head of the income, but the person that decides how it gets spent, not him. Sir, are you with is that your wife next to you?
Yep.
Okay, who decides where you spend your cash? Yeah, all right. He just pointed. What do you do for work?
I'm an engineer.
You're an engineer. And do you want to adopt a kid? There you go. Data scientist, engineer. Make it happen. Cleveland's an interesting place, man. I moved here about 4 or 5 years ago, and I didn't think I'd stay, because this is a cold place, and I'm a bald man. I walk outside, and it's like you just drank a 7-Eleven Slurpee too fast. That's what my brain... I have no protection. But I chose to stay, because this place loves the Indians and the Browns, and I happen to be both. Both. Well, now that we've changed the name, it's weird, right? It's no longer the Indians, it's the Guardians. We named the baseball team after the statues that protect us from traffic. And judging by the traffic, the statues fucking suck. Traffic is the worst shit I've ever seen downtown. I just think, like, a lot of guys got mad. They're like, oh, the Indians, that's our tradition. We don't want to change it. And I just view opportunity where others see trouble. Because that just, in my head, I'm like, if they can't be the Cleveland Indians anymore, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to start an overseas cricket team and call it the Indian Clevelanders. Works great. Some people think that my bucket of jokes is race. Some people think it's politics. Really, what I do best is trick questions that end relationships. That's what I'm good at. You know what I mean? I just ask the right questions at the right time. And people work themselves into traps that they didn't even see coming. You guys together? The two of you? How long you been together? Oh, okay, there. Yeah. You know what's funny is every time I ask that question, the guy always answers. He'll be like 10 months, and then he'll look at her, and she's like, I thought it was 11. He's like, yeah, no, it's 11. I stopped fucking other people 11 months ago. It's neat being out here, man. I flew down here, and I saw the stupidest television show on the airplane that this country has ever produced, and that's the moment I realized that I was a stand-up comic, all right? This show is called American Ninja Warrior. I don't know if you've ever seen this shit. There's no ninjas, no one's at war. It's just Americans on an obstacle course. And I realized I was a comic because, you know, I flew like a budget airlines down here. I'm not going to name them, but they're crap. And the problem with Spirit Airlines, they give you one TV every 6 rows, like a prison, like a communal TV. Like you all got to watch whatever the warden chooses. And this guy chose American Ninja Warrior for all of us, and this show convinced me I was a stand-up comic. We're on the plane, everyone's watching the show. First dude comes up, and he's like, yo, my name's Dimitri. Dimitri is shirtless, oiled up, 7-pack, obviously. My name's Dimitri. I'm running tonight's course in honor of my sister, who has muscular dystrophy. And everyone on the plane was like, oh, that's so sweet. And that's when I knew I was a comic, because I was like, what a dick. All your sister wants to do is get out of her wheelchair and walk around for a little bit. And here you are like, have a seat. I'm gonna run up the 14-foot warp wall in your honor. I felt that corner pulling back. I'll get you. It's all right. This is like if your buddy is like, hey, Raj, plan my bachelor party. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna take us to the hottest strip club in town. And then he goes, we can't do that. I'm like, why not? And he's like, I have ED. And then I go, well, John, no worries. You have ED? That's fine. I'm going to get 8 lap dances in your honor. He's like, what the you're not helping. This is garbage. Doesn't make any sense. What a place, man! What a place! And now we've got some of the things that I love about Cleveland are, you know, the things that most people don't expect, like the weather. More cloudy days here than anywhere else. And I'll tell you exactly why I love it. I have OCD, and with OCD comes a little bit of depression and anxiety. And most of the year I live down south in Arkansas, and about half the year I come up here. And when I live in Arkansas, where it's sunny and nice, and I'm depressed, everything feels worse. And then I come up to Cleveland, I'm the happiest guy here. I'm doing great. Like, wow. I'm somewhere between data scientist and HVAC guy. I'm living right down the middle. How long are you guys together?
Today's the first day.
Today's the first date? Who planned this? You did? And you said, let's go somewhere free. I'm gonna get fucked up. I'm gonna get fucked up. Oh my God, dude. Dude, you see? Okay, I won't. All right, I won't. I was going to. I don't need to take pictures. There's 6 cameras. He said, let's go on a date. It's going to be free. I'm going to get fucked up. You can drive us home. Did you Uber here or you drive here?
She drove here.
Oh, she drove. Okay. I called it. How'd you find each other? Tinder. Okay, very cool. What was it about his profile that made you go, you know what? This is what I want.
I don't know. He was into truck driving, and I'm trying to get into truck.
He was okay, all right. This is the most Midwestern sugar daddy relationship I've ever heard of in my life. He was into truck driving, and I need a truck. I bet you his answer is simpler than yours. Why'd you swipe on her?
She was cute.
She's cute. All right, 2 words, right? 2 words. Yeah. She said he's cute too. As an afterthought. I like trucks. He is a truck. I live in an interesting part of the world, man. I told you about living in Arkansas. It's super interesting. When I first moved there, I had a buddy named James. I used to live in Jersey. Jersey sucks. Almost got stabbed at a Panera on Tuesday, and I was like, oh, fuck it, I'm out. My buddy James, he's like, where are you going to live? I was like, I don't know. I got some options for a day job in Arkansas. He's like, what are you going to do in Arkansas? I was like, I don't know. I'm going to do the day job and do some stand-up. And he's like, oh, stand-up? All right, well, if you're going to do that, I got some advice for you. By the way, James is a shrimpy white guy, and his advice to me was, Raj, whatever you do in stand-up, never say the N-word on stage. I was like, James, let me give you some advice. Never say it off stage either. What the fuck are you doing? I was like, yo, any other advice, genius? And I honestly do use this piece of advice that Jimmy gave me. I was like, any other advice? He's like, yeah, what town are you going to live in? And I was like, I don't know. And he's like, all right, well, go look at the Facebook page for the police department of the city that you're thinking about living in, and look at what crimes they're investigating. And that's why I chose not to live in a town called Springdale, Arkansas, which is a lot like the east side of Cleveland. Like, they've got, like, the Bloods, the Crips, Machine Gun Kelly. They've got all that shit happening over there. And that's why I also chose to live in a place called Bentonville, which is a lot like Bay Village, right? Because what they were investigating at the time is they had a post up, and the post said, we'll offer you guys a $1,000 reward for any information leading to the arrest of the person that has been chopping down trees at the local park, Lake Atalanta. This town that I live in is so white that they're like, Atlanta sounds too black. Throw an extra A in there. It's Atalanta now. 24 hours after the Be on the Lookout notice comes out, they put up a photograph and a caption. And the photo has the perpetrator on a stool. And on one side, it's the chief of police with his arms crossed. And on the other side, it's the mayor with his arms crossed. And these two fucking heroes are standing around like they're on the cover of the hottest NWA album from 1995. But NWA stands for Northwest Arkansas. And the perp on the stool in between them, I looked closely, the caption read as following: Boris is very sorry for his life of crime. He's given up his criminal ways. We are so proud of the police department for figuring out who did it. And I looked closely at the perp, and it's a taxidermied beaver. We pay tax dollars for this kind of fucking police work? No one at the PD was like, hey, all the trees that were chopped down were young, small, thin, and pencil-shaped. I think I know what did it. Probably rodent of some kind. Meanwhile, in Springdale, they're like, hey, MS-13 just moved into the neighborhood. The Latin Kings are right behind them. Bentonville Police Department's like, guys, hang on, all right? Rodents are not an insignificant problem. They do $1 billion worth of estimated economic damage in the United States every year. This is a serious crime. Best part was, 3 days after that, They posted a picture of the deputies enjoying a pizza party, and the caption read, "We are so proud of our deputies for arresting the person that chopped down the trees at Lake Atalanta. We've rewarded them with a $1,000 pizza party." These motherfuckers invented the crime, gave themselves the reward. Unreal. Unreal. When I say it's interesting down there, it's beautiful. Don't get me wrong. Like, I love that part of the world. It's called a natural state. There's a lot of cool stuff. There's also some weird people. Like when the COVID vaccine first came out, I live around a lot of rednecks. One of my buddies is a redneck. He comes up to me, he's like, "Hey, Raj, whatever you do, don't take the vax." I go, "Why not?" He goes, "Because the vax comes with chips." I'm so fucking stupid. I was like, "Why is that a bad thing?" He's like, what do you mean?" And I was like, is it like sour cream or barbecue? Like, I thought we got to choose a bag of chips for taking the government's vaccine. And he's like, "That's the dumbest shit I've ever heard." I was like, "Why, dude? When you were a kid, did they not give you a lollipop for being a good boy?" He's like, "Yeah." I was like, "Right, now I'm an adult. They got to scale me up to a bag of Ruffles. It only seems fair." I was just astounded with it, you know, because I was like, that makes perfect logical sense. We're giving dudes in Alabama $1,000, begging them to get vaccinated. I can't get a bag of Lay's? That's too far-fetched? He's like, then he's like, "Dude, that's dumb as hell." I was like, "All right, what were you talking about?" And he goes, "What I was saying is that Bill Gates is putting microchips in the vaccines." And I was like, "Oh, and you think my idea is a long shot." Wherever. I was at an airport, and this is when I realized Arkansas is a special place, right? I was at an airport, and I was sitting at the airport bar, and there's an older white gentleman next to me, and this was on January 6th. The Capitol riots are taking place, or the Capitol protest, depending on whatever side you're on. I'm not splitting this audience over that joke. You sound blue, Ohio, but I remember the last election. So I was at the airport bar, I'm watching the TV next to this guy, and things are on fire at the Capitol and whatnot. And he looks over and he goes, "This is terrible." I go, "Yeah." He's like, "These people are awful." I go, "Yeah." He goes, "These people are domestic terrorists." And then he looks over and he's like, "Right?" I was like, "Why are you asking me?" "You said domestic. 10 years ago, you thought I was a terrorist, so I don't trust shit about what you think a terrorist is, Rick." I don't trust it at all. And then the next thing that happened was hilarious. The guy that had stole Nancy Pelosi's mail, but he's like, "I ain't no thief, I left a quarter." That guy came up. He had his feet on her desk and stuff. And Rick goes, "That guy is a lunatic." And I look closely at the TV, and I'm like, "Actually, that guy is Big O." And he's like, "What?" And this guy, Richard Big O Harris, literally lives 4 doors down from me. He flew to D.C. and tried to assassinate a senator. And here's the best part about the whole situation, right? I come home and I go, "Yeah, did you guys see? Big O's going to jail." We're not close. We're not LinkedIn buddies, but I've drank. It's a small town. I've drank with him before. I bought shots for the guy. And, you buy shots for people, and sometimes they're like, "Yeah, those liberal bleeding hearts." And you're like, "That guy's not going to kill a senator. He's harmless." He is not harmless. He's doing 25 to life in a federal supermax. So I go to my neighbor, and I was like, "Isn't that crazy? Big O's going away for life." And he's like, "Yeah, Big O's been gone. He's been in jail for 3 weeks. You know what's so crazy about this? What's so wrong?" I was like, "What is it?" And he goes, "This man knew he was going away for the next 2.5 decades and didn't hire someone to mow his lawn. It's hurting all of our property values. Go check on Zillow right now." If you ever want a white guy to feel confident, just ask him his opinion about how to mow your lawn. He will tell you. That's the information that they're... You know how elephants inherit genetic information from their parents about where water sources are? White men are like that with Bermuda grass. They're just no. You gotta scalp it early in the season. You gotta fertilize it midway through. I like being here, though, man. Cleveland is a fun and interesting town. It really is. We have crime and We had LeBron for a little bit, and now we have people like me. This is it. Can anyone else shout out any good Cleveland things that I've maybe forgotten? Huh? Kevin Love. Is that an R&B guy? Who the fuck is Kevin Love? I'm sorry. If that's an American sport, is he a sports person? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I don't give a shit about American sports. They're the worst. LeBron is the only athlete I know. I grew up overseas. You'll have to forgive me. I only watch cricket, pretty much. That and the stock market. Those are the two sports I'm interested in. It's crazy, man. Anyone in here a good drunk driver? Remember at the beginning when I said my style of comedy was trick questions? That's the first one. There's always one or two in every audience. When I do this in the South, I did it in Springfield, Missouri. Half the room, yeah, me. Two guys actually stood up in the audience, started arguing with each other about who the better drunk driver was. And I'm like, fellas, it's just a joke. Chill out, calm down, have a seat. And they're like, yo, fuck the jokes. Get in the cars. You be the judge. We'll drift down. We'll go through downtown. We'll show you what happens. Someone in the audience is like, well, what if they crash? And the other guy goes, oh, it'll only be like $25 worth of damage. Shut the fuck up. So that city has a lot of civic pride. Here's the thing about being a drunk driver. Here are my tips, right? First of all, don't do it. Second, if you can, get an Uber. And third, if you can't get an Uber, then get that sign that Uber drivers put in their windows and put it in yours and put your buddy in the back seat and drive home. The police will never know the difference. They won't. It's the perfect camouflage. I'm here to just help you do clever crime, you know? If you ever have a boss or a workplace you're mad at, don't go in there and shoot the place up. Go in there and turn the thermostat up by 4 degrees. 1 year later, they'll feel it in the budget. The whole company will go under. You're done. You ever want to get back at the rich? All of these guys have an art museum as a tax shelter. Walk in, lick your finger, poke a hole. That's it. Poke a hole in 3 paintings. You're done for the day. That one, she's like, I'm going to the Akron Museum tonight. Here's how you can figure out if you are a good drunk driver, all right? Like the legal way. Get hammered. I've done this before. Get as blitzed as you can. And then get behind the wheel of a go-kart. At 120 cc's, the government doesn't give a shit what your blood alcohol content is. They're like, go ahead, kid, drive all you want. And that's what I found out, that I'm actually not bad. I'm great at keeping it between the lines as a drunk driver. You know what I'm not good at when I'm drunk driving? Sharing the road. I'm driving around on the track, I look over my shoulder, there's a 12-year-old driving next to me. And that's when I turn into an old person that lives in a gated community. I'm like, how the fuck did you get in here? Do you even pay taxes in this neighborhood? I start ramming him into the tire walls. I'm trying to flip his cart over. And the 16-year-old that runs the ride that's sitting in the tower, he looks like a before panel from a Proactive commercial, decides to come down and stop everything. And he comes down, and he stands at the end of the straightaway, and he's like, sir, stop. I fucking sped up. That's a lie. Go-karts have 1 speed. But I kept going at him, and they said it again. He goes, sir, stop. And the third time, he didn't, this is how I know go-karts aren't fast. He just went, sir, stop. And he stopped the go-kart with his 16-year-old quads. I look up at him, I'm like, yo, what's your problem, bro? And he's like, the problem, bro, is you're clearly fucked up. You wouldn't be allowed to drive out there in this condition. I don't know why you think you can do it in here. And I was like, okay, fair point. But by that logic, he's 12. He wouldn't be allowed to drive out there in this condition. I don't know why you think you could do it in here. They photocopied my ID. I'm not allowed within 200 yards of the building. It's horrible, man. It's horrible. Terrible. I actually ended up out here because I used to work for a company based out of this area, and I won't name them, but they make the second best jelly in the country. See, that's how you get back as a disgruntled employee. You gotta be snide. You never say too much. I had a boss over there. This dude has a heart of gold. He sounds racist, but he's just old and from Tennessee. His name is William, all right? I'd been at work for about a week, and I walked past his office. He's like, hey, Rajo. I go, hey. And he's like, come in here. He's an older guy, but he sounds like McConaughey. He's like, come in here. I go into his office. He's like, shut the door. So I shut the door. He's like, hey, quick question. What are you? I was like, yo, you need to be more specific. He goes, oh, sorry. What ethnicity are you? I was like, why are you doing air quotes? That's a real thing. He goes, sorry. What race are you? I was like, why are you doing air quotes? That's also... I'm Indian. Why? He goes, oh, you're Indian, so you're Middle Eastern. And I was like, do you think that that's a continent? And he's like, no. And then he's like, hang on, I'm getting a call. He pulled his phone out, but he didn't actually, he didn't put it to his ear. He just like stared at it for a couple seconds. And then he looks up and he goes, the Middle East is an area of land between the continents of Asia and Africa. I was like, are you reading that off your phone? He's like, I'm asking the questions here. And I go, why are you asking? And he goes, okay, just tell me what continent you're from then. I go, I'm Indian, so technically I'm from Asia, which makes me Asian. And that's when his head fucking exploded. He's like, Asian? You can't be Asian. I was like, why can't I be Asian? He goes, you don't look Asian. I go, what do Asians look like, William? And he slowly started to raise his fingers towards his face. And I was like, yo, don't do the eyes. I left his office. 1 week goes by. He goes, hey, Raj. I go, what's up? He's like, come in here. And I walk in. He's like, shut the door. So I shut the door. And he's like, hey, I asked Matt and Jessica, who we also work with, about this whole Asian controversy. I was like, first of all, not a controversy, just geography. Are you fifth grader? Geography. Are you smarter than fifth grade geography? Yes, that's exactly what it is. I was like, what'd they say? And he's like, they said you were right. And I was like, right. And what convinced you of that? He's like, they said that you were right because they showed me on a map, then they showed me on a globe, and I guess India's in Asia, and so you're Asian. And I was like, hang on, let's deconstruct that sentence. They showed you on a map, and then you didn't believe the 2D version. So like a child, they brought out a model of the earth and spun it around and said, look, kid, right there. Asians. And he's like, right, well, whatever. But if India is an Asian, that makes you Asian. Then let me ask you this question. Russia is partly in Asia. Are Russians Asian? And I was like, yeah, well, you know, on one side of the Ural Mountains, the people of Russia view themselves as Central Asian. And he's like, Russians can't be Asian. I was like, why not? And he's like, because Russians are, they're just not. The third time that I walked by his office, he goes, Raj, come in here. I go, all right. And he goes, I already shut the door. And when I walk in, he has these giant panes of glass that overlook a lake behind his office. And he's standing there with his arm behind his back like a fucking supervillain. He's like, have a seat. So I do. He's like, I saw 2 Lithuanian fellers today. And I knew we were in for shit because he said fellers with a hard R. I saw 2 Lithuanian fellers today. And their skin was somehow darker than yours. How would you explain that? I go, well, sometimes, I spend a lot of time indoors, and they spend a lot of time outdoors. And he dead-ass looked me in the eyes like, are you really telling me that this is a factor of evolution? And I was like, no, you dickhead, there's suntanning. That's what's going on. And he's like, well, so does that make them Asian? I was like, what do you think an Asian actually is? Anyway, he got fired. He's a beautiful guy, but he got fired. And that's how that story ends. He's a nice guy. He is. He was so nice, dude. All the time he would say stuff to me. He would say stuff that was like 90% of the way there, you know? He'd say stuff like, hey, I have brown friends. Great. I love white people. Great. I love the blacks, too. Don't say it like that. This close. I do have a 2-year-old. He's a dickhead, as I've mentioned. He likes to wake me up at like 2, 3 in the morning with like existential questions. The other day he knocks on the door and he comes in. I'm like, what do you want, bud? And he's like, Daddy, big tissue. He can't say the word issue, so he says tissue. And I'm like, what is it? And he goes, huge tissue. I was like, all right, get to it. It's late. And he goes, I just think it's weird that the government won't support cryptocurrency, but they want to tax the profits. What the fuck is this about? I'm like, we got to get you back to watching Frozen, kid. You're so precocious. He's like, Daddy, what is precocious? I was like, you don't know what precocious means? He's like, nah, dickhead, I just explained cryptocurrency to you. Of course I know what precocious means. You know my favorite part of that joke? I don't have a 2-year-old. People keep coming up to me, though, and telling me things that they think are compliments that are not compliments, like the peaches thing, you know? They keep saying things that they think are compliments but are not. My wife comes up to me the other day, and she goes, hey, Raj, you know something? You got a Goldilocks dick. I was like, what's that? She's like, your dick is neither too small, nor is it too big. I was like, what? She's like, no, it's a compliment. I was like, that's not a compliment. She's like, why not? I said it's not that small. I was like, right, you also said it's not that big either. And she was like, all right, well, next time you're on stage, ask your audience, ask the women in the audience, is there such a thing as too big of a dick? Ladies, is there?
Yes.
There is?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
I don't believe you. Are you with this guy? Yes? Next question. Is the too big of a dick his? No, it ain't. Remember when I said my style of comedy is trick questions that end relationships? I walked them right to it. Just enough rope to hang themselves with. I have a theory that every single religion has a fast food outlet you can compare it to. Every single one. So I'll do like 2 or 3, and then you guys can shout out religions, and I will tell you what fast food outlet they're like. Cool? Here's the... I'll do 2 or 3. Here's the first one. Christianity reminds me a lot of McDonald's because when they started, it was by white people, for white people. Then they were like, we customize this by country. It's going to be a lot more profitable. Some of you are not familiar with Korean or black Jesuses. That's fine. Others just staunch Christians. I'll pull you back. Mormonism is a lot like Arby's because Arby's is a lot like McDonald's, but there's just something a little bit off about it, and people keep offering you the meats. Hinduism, my religion, is like Taco Bell. Because it's great when you're looking for answers at 3 in the morning. But there's just so much shit to pick through. Where do you begin? All right, you guys shout some out. Scientology is a real religion. Next. I heard Southern Baptist. Southern Baptist. No, I'm serious. He said Southern Baptist. I'll get back to you. Southern Baptist remind me of like a black McDonald's, so Popeyes maybe? Checkers? All right, what was up there? Methodist, great. Methodist remind me of a Waffle House or like a Denny's because they don't care. Meth head, crackhead, everybody get in here. We'll make it work. Buddhism reminds me of Panera because you can eat a vegan diet. It's just going to cost you 100% of your material possessions. It's $13 for a sandwich and a cup of soup. It's ridiculous, don't you think? Catholics remind me of an IHOP. They remind me of an IHOP because there's a lot of bread-based items. But there's even more sitting and standing. All right. What's that? Catholics twice. Catholics remind me of Olive Garden because there's a lot of bread-based items, but there's even more cheap wine. What am I forgetting? I feel like I'm forgetting. Muslim is not a religion. She just goes, Muslim. If you meant Islam, that's I can do that. Islam reminds me of Chipotle. Because normally it's great, but every once in a while you end up with this terrifying, explosive experience that you'll never forget. Woo! All right, maybe one last one, someone in the middle.
Chinese.
Catholicism a third time. Catholicism Catholicism reminds me of Chuck E. Cheese. Because there's a lot of bread-based items. But the adults aren't really committed unless there's children involved. That's my time for tonight, everybody. I love you guys. I'll take care. Take care, Cleveland. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you in a second. We'll see you out there. Take care. Good night. Get home safe.
Throw salt on my head, meet me home till I'm finished, till a wall full of faces are calling me God. Welcome to the jungle. It's what happens when you ain't good shit. Yeah, and I spend a raw full of money, keep on going till I'm finished, till I fall for my graves and they calling me flood. Welcome to the jungle. It's what happens when you still ain't.
So I'll come out this way. Maybe it's slowing off right about this big. Cleveland, what's up? Yes, up.
Yeah, there are.
Keep going. Do your thing. 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 Easy. It's easy.